emails so I can, in case, because I fully expect my brother, who did pass the bar, he has had legal training and worked as a lawyer in his youth. I wouldn't put it past him to build a legal case that I'm crazy and therefore somehow undeserving of either being co-executor of her estate after she dies, if I am co-executor by the time she dies. Uh, I don't put anything past him
Hmm.
that he will use every argument in the book to try to get nothing for me and all for him. And yet the facts stand for themselves. He's the felon. He's the felon in Ohio with domestic violence as the charge brought by his own wife, and they didn't divorce. So, you know, I have asked for an accounting of what he's done for mom in the last year. I don't ever expect to get it, but at least I have in an email that I ask for this.
Right.
And I've stopped. I decided I'm not going to maintain, well, I'll maintain my own detailed records, but I'm not going to provide them to them because it's not clear. I think my mom does read them or look at them in terms of her income and expense, but my brother never does. And I've spent quite a lot of time and effort being punctilious, very precise about these reports. And I'm sensing my brother is doing minimums and
Hmm.
genuinely busy, but so are we all. And I don't think I'll ever get a report of what he's been doing for her, what he does for her. And that's okay, but I want the record to stand that here I've been forthcoming with information to benefit the estate, and I'm not getting reciprocation on that. I'm not getting it back. So
Right.
we'll see what happens. I'm fully prepared to inherit nothing, and that's very liberating. I'm prepared to inherit nothing. I'm prepared not to get the house. Moving's a pain, but it's been done before.
I do know.
It would be awesome if Daryl would collaborate with buying a place, even if it's a very cheap place that we end up putting money into to fix it up. That would be acceptable to me. But one thing at a time. He's got to get a permanent job. I'm also
Yes.
looking for other work, but I hate the idea of a 40-hour a week office job and a commute because I've been enjoying such liberty.
Yes.
So
I
we'll see what
understand
happens.
that.
We'll see what happens.
Well, only time will tell with that.
True enough.
So all you
Well,
do
shall we
is you
get into
put it out
this?
there.
Shall we
We
do this
shall.
thing?
We shall. Let me. Well, poo. Okay. So we are going to let there be a pause in this recording, and then we will go and I will take it out and edit it. And if you'll just say, "This is my article," and then go into reading it, then I've got where I can pick it up
What
and put
what
it
would
in
be the
there.
cue line, do you
Um,
suppose? Do you remember?
well, the
Kevin?
Kevin said, "Well, let's get to it," and then you came in with your article.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll thank Kevin first and then
Yes.
get into it.
Yes. Okay.
I'll thank Kevin and identify myself and then get into it.
Yes. That would help. Yes.
There we go.
And let me mute my microphone.
And let me go to the restroom really quickly. Just quick. Be right back. Well, thanks. I needed that. uh, Looks like my voice has picked up as well. That's a blessing. Got that froggy all resolved. Get my microphone-y thingy clipped on to me. There we go. My controller. Got a mute button. Not that I think I'm going to need it. Okay, when you say. Okay. So count backwards from 10 in my mind and then start? Okay. Well, tell me when to go. Thank you, Kevin. This is Jean Broida, Broida, also known as Lightworker 111. I wrote an article and I published it on my blog, lightwork111.com, just a couple of days ago. I've submitted it for publication, but I just couldn't wait. I write for thedailyconspiracy.com and other publications. This one, see if you don't recognize the literary style from a trending Netflix show, A Series of Unfortunate Events, written by Lemony Snicket. I'm sure a fictional author, but the title of this article is The Walls Will Have Ears. And here we go. The idiomatic saying, the walls have ears, means that someone unintended might be listening or eavesdropping on your private conversation, and you should be careful what you say. This is one idiom that is about to become completely literal. Wall paint that contains smart electronic particles that, when applied, transform flat surfaces into large interactive touchscreens, are being developed as you listen to this. Lead researcher Yang Zhang justified his smart technology work with words reminiscent of George Lee Mallory. When asked why on earth he wanted to risk his life climbing Mount Everest in the Himalayas, the world's tallest peak, Mallory said simply, "Because it is there." Zhang said, "We wanted to make walls smart since walls are already there." Zhang is leading a team of smart, pun intended, scientists at Carnegie Mellon and Disney Research. This group of brainiacs is conspiring to produce a conductive coating that is Big Brother's dream come true. And then I talk about, in my article, 1984 by George Orwell, which is a classic tome and fictional account of a dystopian future. If you haven't read 1984, go to Amazon, look for George Orwell's classic, and read it right away. We'll wait. Just kidding. I've skipped down that portion of my article and continuing. The insidious vision of tech giant Google is to monopolize the market of smart home equipment, quote, that can eavesdrop on everything going on in our homes, all under the guise of sending us targeted ads for our convenience, unquote. Google leaders are plotting to snoop on each and every one of us throughout our home in order to learn more about us and better target us with advertising. Again, I'm departing from the article a bit. Google has taken out patents to this end. Back to the article. The inventive team from Carnegie Mellon and Disney Research are developing wall paint, which contains microparticles that can identify the position of every occupant in a room. The smart walls will sense which electrical appliances are nearby and when they are in use. All this smartness is achieved by the addition of nickel in the paint. When applied in a grid, the nickel bits create electrodes that stick to the treated surface after the paint dries. The wall is then finished with a coat of regular paint, presumably to protect the electrodes from heat, humidity, and human touch. The truly evil part of this proto-product is that it is undetectable to the human eye. However, inventor Zhang claims this is a feature, not a bug. Users who don't want to use their walls as an interactive touchscreen can simply ignore it. But will the smartly painted wall ignore the users? What if the walls, like an activated Amazon Echo speaker, listen in and record all human activities within their detection range? Zhang insists that his product serves humans rather than the other way around. People will enjoy the beauty of a room uncluttered by sensors. We will all appreciate never having to buy a battery again to power our smart machines. But wait, there's more. Zhang envisions a day when smart watches worn by dumb users will identify them to Big Google, again under the guise of convenience. The lighting, music, and other environmental settings will adjust automatically based on personal preferential settings. The smart walls could even sense when an elderly or injured occupant falls and can't get up, alerting other family members. And this goes on a bit more, talking about integration into the Internet of Things, which is where all this smart technology is leading. And it's very distressing in the sense that big tech players, whether the rest of us like it or not, are buying in to this concept that this level of technology that can surveil everything in the environment, not only in private, but also public, the public acceptance of closed caption televisions and surveillance all the time. This is a disturbing social trend for many of us. But what do you guys think? Think, yeah, yeah, yes. I think it was probably about the same amount of time too. Uh, well, this is how we learn. We learn much more from errors than from things going right. Well, have you got a little more time? A couple things I want to talk to you about if you're not running off. And I get it if you need to. Ozark Mountain. Yeah, well, I think I can be brief. Uh, Ozark Mountain. I still have not heard back about a press pass. I'm all systems go for that. And we know that your going is dependent on your health and you're doing great. So the other issue was contact in the desert. And I think I told you I went ahead and reserved 5 nights. I believe I'm arriving the day after you arrive. Let me check my itinerary here so I tell you correctly. I'm arriving May 30th.